Hey everyone, welcome to day 25 of March to Startup. And if you're not familiar, what this is, I'm dropping out of my PhD in 6 months, PhD in electrical engineering. I wanted to pursue entrepreneurial interests, and so this is a transparent and clear path of how I'm going to do that. Yeah, so before I even get started, I just first wanted to say thank you to everyone that's been tuning in so far, especially today, or because of the people that have been tuning in, today just kind of blew up a little, and I'm grateful for it. It's not a lot. It's probably like 8 subscribers since yesterday, but that's the first sort of jump in my subscribers. It's been like two at the most every day until today, and for some reason this video is blowing up as well. And yeah, I think especially now when this channel is young, probably until I get till the point where it might be dangerous to show what kind of numbers I'm pulling in. Yeah, I think I can talk about that more later on, but I feel like envy with lots of people. Right now it's sort of like a core community. People that are supportive are tuning in, but in the future it's gonna lead to places that I'm not sure are the best, or may seem like I'm showing off. But right now it's cool. I want to share, be transparent. So far, 44 subscribers, jumped over like 6 or 8 since yesterday or the past 2 days. Especially this video. I don't know why this video. It's basically the same as like the past 3 videos, and those didn't go as big, so I don't know what's going on. This has been like my big video so far, my biggest video, 600 views for Obsidian. If you're not familiar, note-taking app, really useful. What I'm using to manage my projects, tasks, and all my notes. But yeah, that's general sort of. This was popping off today while I was recording for my second channel, so I just want to say thank you. I appreciate everyone who's tuning in. Yeah, y'all are awesome. And then that's the first thing I wanted to share. Very cool. Second thing I wanted to share, and this is sort of to help to supplement this channel, because in my journey of dropping out, there's lots of things that I need to learn, and not everything that I learn I want to necessarily record for March to Startup, because there's just going to be so much learning, so much hours, and I kind of want March to Startup to be, you're going to have long videos of 1 hour, but I want them to be sort of within 1 week or 2 weeks, 7 videos, 14 videos. You can see me basically moving from task to task, because anything that you really do takes about 1 or 2 weeks. Making an app, maybe 2 to 3 or 4 weeks, but everything really should be within like 7 to 14 videos. Every step I take, 7 to 14 videos. And learning will just require so many more videos. So I'm making the second channel. And this channel covers everything that I'm going to be learning, but particularly the technology stuff I'm learning. So that can be app development, web development, machine learning, artificial intelligence, Python, PyTorch, anything tech, software related, it's going to be there. Also math you need for machine learning. But anyways, then productivity. So I don't know. Right now that's mainly books, but it could be other things in the future. And then business. Business is going to be the key thing that I'm showing on this channel. But for now, it's not necessarily the case. It'll be more so once I start going down my path a little bit more, which I'll actually share. I have an updated timeline of what steps I'm going to take, and hopefully the little bit of insight can help y'all sort of make a schedule when you want to tune in, because I know for now some of you may not be interested in this Mac customization, setting up for efficiency. That's fine, but at least now you'll know sort of when I'm going to make what videos, and you can come back in a week or two and see and watch those videos. So yeah, in this channel, what I'm currently building is in the vein of large language models, essentially taking in a X-ray report or an X-ray image of the chest area, as well as a report written by a radiologist, training a machine learning model on these two, and then having the model take in an image, a chest X-ray, and then write a report automatically. And so if you're interested in building, you just want to see me build, and especially in the area of AI or app development, web development, you can go here. So yeah, sharing that. Currently I'm doing a literature review. Today, I haven't uploaded the video yet, but I spent like 3 hours going over my first paper. Gonna be diving into the code tomorrow, probably running it, and yeah, that's one aspect. And then the last thing that I wanted to share, that's good news, just checked in, well, not officially confirmed, but it will be soon. I want to share my journey for my healthcare startup, or my PhD research that I initially intended to spin off. If you watch my first few YouTube shorts, let's see if it's on here. If you watch like these 2 YouTube shorts, or these 3, I talk about a healthcare startup or spin-off that I was working on in my PhD, still working on it, and I will be working on it for these next 6 months until I drop out. But yeah, it's essentially using iPhone. Yeah. Well, I'll keep my mouth shut. But it's a healthcare startup that has veteran affairs collaboration, and it's a healthcare startup. Let's see. I can say that we've interviewed over 150 patients, nurses, doctors as part of customer discovery. If you're not familiar with startups, and ideally the best thing to do when you have an idea is to talk to people and see if they actually have problems that your idea fits in. You don't want to come in with an idea and build it out and then say, here, use it. Like, it's not a very big chance that it will be accepted. And because of this approach is very well known. I think it's called lean methodology, or it's modern startup methodology, and it's taught by the OG startup Steve Blank. They teach it at YC Combinator, or Y Combinator. Yeah, so anyways, interviewed lots of people. We had to pivot. Now we're on our current path, and we're getting support. We've been trying to get funding, and it's not necessarily an issue. It just helps speed up the project. And yeah, so there's lots of other insights and things that are very interesting to talk about there. I got my approval from my PhD advisor. She knows I'm going to drop out. I don't think she knows it about this channel as much, that I'm basically using it as my hook, but she knows I'm going to drop out, and we've had the conversation. There's no ill will, or it's all good between me and her. So very excited to share that. I just need to run it through our university's intellectual property manager, because if you're not familiar, as a PhD student, anything you make for your university, anything that you do for research in your university, is basically the university's. If you patent it, you have to transfer it to the university. They own it, and then you can license it from them. That's one of the issues that I have with being a PhD student. I have so many ideas, and the fact that I'd have to license some from the university, it's kind of, that is where issues would be. And then also with that, you have to do a lot of research in PhD, and that's not necessarily what I want to do. So those are 3 main points. YouTube's popping. I wanted to say thank you for all the people that are tuning in and have been tuning in. I have a second channel for those that are interested, just purely in learning and AI, technology, productivity, business. This is where I'll be showing my learning. And yeah, you can go there if you are not so much as interested in the Mac optimization, which I'm currently doing probably for the next week at most. So yeah, you can turn here for the next week, and then eventually I'll also add my healthcare spin-off once it gets approved, and I can share a lot more insights from that on this channel. So let's get right into it. And I think I'll probably be adding timestamps now. So let's do the first timestamp. Where do we do this? So now we're at 11:27 or 00:00. It's introduction plus what should I name it? I just want this to be quick. You can just, well, I'll make the time stamp just skip this thinking period. But first we add our introduction, then let's do YouTube channel status or update, and then I introducing second channel for building AI, healthcare AI. So I'll need to go back to those, and then yeah, something like that. That's fine. So now it's 13:16. So now we're going to go into the tasks for the foreseeable future. So the tasks that I have planned are, first, right now what I'm working on is writing a guide to optimize efficiency, productivity on your computer. And I'm using Mac, so that's what the guide is mostly going to focus on now. If people want to contribute on GitHub and sort of follow the same process but add information for Windows and Linux, that'd be cool. I'll probably keep that free. Yeah, I'll probably just keep any changes to my vault free. Initially I was going to charge. Yeah, that's not necessarily where I want to make money, so it'll just be useful tips for anyone that wants to get set up and get going. So, writing out my guide, and right now that guide looks like start here. Yeah. So again, I'm using Obsidian vaults, so essentially it's just folders and files, but there's some linking between folders and files and some organization and community plugins, so there's a lot of customization. And my GitHub vault has a startup file if you're new to Obsidian. But anyways, So for each platform, there's different files. Mine focuses on Mac. So for Mac, what I'm doing to set up is just looking at the core apps that I would need for productivity. And there is some bias to this. It's my personal workflow, so there might be some different apps that are built in that I didn't include that you might want to include. Go ahead. It's free to it's easy to modify and add your own notes. So that's what I'm sharing. So we probably have some commonality though with this list that I have. So first is just system settings. What settings did I have? I walked through this in a previous video. Maybe you see some adjustments that I have that you find would help, like reduce friction when using your computer and working. And then Mac comes with some built-in softwares and tools that are useful. Some of them I'm integral to my workflow, such as Time Machine. I want to make sure that I back up my files on a regular basis, so using Time Machine. Terminal. I tend to use my computer. Tend to have times where I need to use my computer in ways that you can't with normal GUI, so terminal is important. While other ones such as Automator don't really need it, but now that I know what it can do, I have that in the back of my mind in case I need it in the future. So those are, so right now that's all sort of just a bunch of notes. I need to clean that up. Need to go through the core apps for productivity. And then after I go through all this, write my notes, finish setting them up, then I have a list of core hotkeys I'm using. And I'll probably have some pictures to show how the hotkeys are useful. And so anyone that has a Mac can sort of look through it and see, oh, that might be important, or maybe nothing's helpful. You reached maximum productivity on your own Mac. Great. Yeah. So after this is for optimizing my Mac. Now the next part is so after I do that, I need to upload to GitHub and create a video. As with everything in my path, first I'm going to make my path, see what I need to do, and then I'm going to try to package it up just a little bit to share it. The only thing that I'm really gaining from that is like AdSense and maybe and attention. So that's the only thing I'm really gaining, but there's so much more than just trying to make money from everything. Like a lot of it is just going to be just want to bring value to other people, and people like, so I'm kind of rambling, but I'm a minority. Growing up, my mom made like $20,000-$30,000 a year, single mom, and the issue is always, where do you start? How do you even go about entrepreneurship? It's hard as a minority knowing what path to take, because each path just can lead you completely differently. It can lead to completely different areas. And I'm gonna save this for a different video. There's so much more to say here than what I'm saying. Point is, I want the videos I'm making to be helpful for people who are not sure how to start or where to start. What do you need to think about, and how do you go about thinking about it? That's mostly what I want to say. So let's move on from that. After I do that, I need to set up a folder file structure, research and organize the resources I have then into this folder file structure, and make a maintenance and encryption plan. After this, I have a good set of solid videos again to share. How do you go about organizing your files? Because when you're working on a project where you have hundreds of files and you don't know where things are, and you're just sort of haphazard putting things here, putting things there, it gets too stressful. And especially for me, I'm still in my PhD, so for me to be able to context switch from research project to my other research project to whatever I'm doing for my YouTubes, I need to be quick like that, and I need to know where things are. So that's one of the reasons. And also, because there's so many files to reference and so many things to learn, you need to have a good organization. I've gotten to the point where my files are just so redundant. I have, for example, like a business file, business resources saved in my bookmarks, saved in my downloads, saved in my thumb drive, saved in my an Excel sheet with a bunch of links on things I want to go and review, and they're all sort of all out of order. So it's getting too crazy. So this is going to be helpful for people who can feel that, who realize that they need organization if they're going to be in this, if they're going to have longevity, and they want it to be as easy and frictionless as possible to go from idea to idea, project to project. That's the purpose of that. Now the second thing is, now I'm going to have all the files that I've been collecting over 7 years as a student, from my undergrad, from my master's degree, now from the past year. I've been collecting business stuff that I want to go back to and just haven't had time. And so I'm going to have all these different files, and they're going to be organized, and I'm going to know which are going to be applicable to me, which are no longer relevant, which are just BS. So with all that information, I'm going to make a curated list. These are going to be blogs, articles, channels, podcasts, and books. And they're all it's going to be curated. I am going to use the help of ChatGPT, but hey, I haven't seen a very nice curated list in a while. The best lists that I've seen are, for example, top 5 entrepreneur books. But books can only convey so much information, and they're not constantly up to date. Some can be, but I mean, those are for broader aspects. But anyways, so I'm going to have a curated list at this point. My next goal is, okay, how do I approach my goal of 5K a month in passive income? First, I'm going to prioritize what are my key resources that I need to go over now and get in the right headspace. If I'm making a plan and I'm just completely blind when I'm making that plan, there's no point. It's like you have a map and you're in a dark room with no light, and you say, I want to get here, but you don't even know where here is. Well, let's suppose you do know where. Okay, let's say you want to get here, but then to find it on the map and to find the path you have to take, you're not going to see it. So you do need to be in sort of a right headspace. At least for me, especially as a researcher. So that means for me, probably going over Steve Blank's. This is going to be my first curated list. So first, probably going over Steve Blank's Startup Owner's Manual and Udemy course. If you're not familiar, he's sort of like an OG of modern startup methodology. And this methodology, fancy words, is just what steps do you take to build a startup. First, he says, interview customers, see what their pain points are, and then see if your idea and that have some intersection. And then iterate, continue to have interviews, show them your demo, see if they're basically telling you, shut up and take my money, or are they not showing interest? That's the approach to take. And so that's one approach. And then YC, Also uses customer discovery, basically what Steve Blank is teaching, but probably has more information. That's probably has more information, a lot of more links that can be helpful. Another resource that's been on the back of my mind is, My First Million, a YouTube channel, basically has billionaires on their podcast. See, that's the only people on their podcast, and they're talking about how they made their first billion. And one of the videos that they share is, how do you get in the right mind? How do you get in the right headspace? What do you need to do? What's the general path? So they have like 1 or 2 videos that I want to watch. And the fourth thing that's on the top of my mind is just, what sort of key books are best to start this. And the list that immediately comes to mind is Patrick Bet-David. I think he has like a video, 3 minutes. He talks about the most important books. I think one of them was Blue Ocean Strategy. So that's my list that's in my mind. It's not that long, and I don't intend to read until I feel like I'm ready. We have about a week that I'm going to dedicate to learning, getting in the right headspace, then making my plan. Probably making my plan in parallel. After I read a book or read a chapter a day, okay, how does this change my plan? Being in the right headspace, then the next question is, how will I get to 5K a month in passive income? It's probably not going to be a walk in the park. It's probably going to take more than a few months. I'm dropping out in 6, and I'm basically using a month already to do Mac optimization. Sorry, I need to blow my nose. I'll be back. Yeah, so as I was saying, I have 6 months until basically June 2024. And I need to think about how I'm actually going to approach this. Right now, I'm spending a month, not necessarily a month, because I'm also working on other projects for my PhD, but the time that I do have available, I'm spending right now for Mac optimization. It might be crazy, but I think it's the right step for now. So anyways, with the remaining time available, I need to determine how long will it take. And before that, what am I going to do? Am I going to sell apps? Can I make $5,000 a month in passive income? There's people that have made apps and they're only making like $5 a month. Now, with that being said, there's also things that a lot of people don't do. For example, they don't market their apps. And so I need to have a balanced perspective on how do I approach this in a way that aligns with my interests, my skills, and my timeline. And depending on the timeline that I predict and how long it'll take, I then need to account for how am I going to pay living expenses. So am I going to take a part-time job? Am I going to take a full-time job? I thought about this. For example, I saw Costco. Costco nearby has an iOS mobile developer application open. I can imagine Costco's work hours are only like 40 hours a week. I'll be getting paid a tech salary, so I'll have some funding for ideas. Do I want to do that? Do I want to devote 40 hours to something else and then come home and work another 40 hours? I don't know. So it's something I'll need to determine. And so once I determine my path, I think it'll be insightful for others on what resources am I learning, how am I approaching this, and yeah, what thought processes went into this. And something I'm considering in the future, I'll write it down here. Health, so another thing I'm considering adding to this March to Startup, I'm not sure, maybe if you're watching this, you watched to the 30-minute mark, which few people do. I'm curious to see if people would be interested in having like a full, well-rounded perspective of entrepreneurship and March to Startup, because the way getting started is the hardest. Getting the ball rolling is the hardest. But once the ball is rolling, to have longevity and to be really big and end up like Goliath, you need longevity and you need a sustainable work ethic. You need to take care of your health, and that includes what you're eating and exercise. And that's something that I neglected a lot during my PhD, and now that I have a little bit more time I basically have autonomy with my own time. I can devote a little bit more focus to making sure I make meals, that I have consistent food, that I'm eating at a regular schedule, that I'm exercising. And I think it might be useful for people that I will share this, but I just don't know to which channel and if I should make it part of March to Startup. That's the main goal, main thing that I want to say. Yeah, so I'll see if anyone says anything. If I don't hear anything, I'll think about it and see what I come up with. But let's see, I skipped ahead. So yeah, once I have my plan, gonna market that, people might find it useful, and then start. And then at some point as well, in my March to Startup, I'm going to take like a week or two to think about how to, and that's why I might do this actually before starting, taking a week to think about how I'm communicating my March to Startup. Am I communicating in a way that's entertaining and informative, or is it just informative and no one's really going to watch it ever? Like, I know we all watched documentaries in high school, well, elementary school, middle school, that were just dry and we could not sit still, but they were really informative. So that's sort of something I need to consider. Am I just making long videos that few people are going to tune into? Maybe I can summarize, for example, everything I did. Okay, so let me just think about this for a moment. Typically what I do, have an introduction, talk about my path for everyone that's tuning in, recap maybe the first few steps, or maybe like every other week, go a little bit more detailed into what I'm doing. Then I take you on a basically work with me, study with me type of video. And then at the end, nothing, I just say goodbye. So if in the future, what if I keep it as is, have my introduction, talk about, and make it more consistent, like every week's introduction. Let me just write this ideas. So my introduction, let me write it out loud, or say it out loud first so you catch on, and then I'll write it down. And you can just tune out while I write it. So start every video with my introduction and have a plan. So every day, every weekday, or every normal day will be me recapping the past or the current task I'm on. That makes sense. Recapping the current task I'm on, and then recapping the current task I'm on. That's a current segment. And then basically at the end, when I finish whatever I'm doing, I recap what I did for that day. And I do it like in 5 minutes, just make it quick. And so then I cut the video so that I move that 5-minute recap to the start. And so I have my introduction, 5-minute recap, and then the study with me. So a video would look like this. It would be introduction, study with me, and then 5-minute recap of the day. And then I'm saying slightly edited videos could look like introduction, and then move this to here, and then have the study with me. So if you're tuning in, you just get my introduction, get my 5-minute recap. So if you prefer just like 7-minute videos, no longer than 7 minutes, that'll be perfect. And then the rest of you that want to study with me, see a little bit of the details, you can go into the study with me. Or if I just have timestamps moving forward, maybe this would be good enough. Something I need to explore. But my point is, I want to think about this journey is something I'm sharing, but I also want it to be informative. Otherwise, why would I? Informative and entertaining, because if I'm just filming just to film, because I don't know, I like seeing myself on camera, there's no point in even uploading it. So the reason for uploading it is for it to be enjoyable and informative. But my aim isn't to be like a TV show, not a content creator, just what's like another good word for it, like a value provider or a consultant. I don't know. If you see this in the future and you think of a good word, let me know. I'll probably put it on my bio or something. But anyways, take a week or two, think about how I'm sharing my information and how I can continue to increase my audience and my reach. Because it is a bit of a strategy here. The reason for filming, and I'm sharing this for now, just being transparent. It's everything I'm doing is transparent. The reason for filming, in addition to providing value, is it brings the right sort of community around me for this journey. So that what that community means is it brings first I want to assemble a team. So I want a team that we can build stuff. Everyone sort of gets value from it. They all are getting paid. They're getting fed well. So building a team so we can build on whatever creative ideas we have. Right now, one of the hardest parts about working solo is just it's difficult to go from idea to idea and build it out, because it just takes so long to build one idea, and it's so much quicker 2 people, you can finish most apps, most websites in a month and a half. A month. So that's the first thing. Finding people that are similar to me, want to be on a similar journey, who have complementary skills, or they're also programmers, marketers, graphic designers, researchers. Researchers definitely. So that sort of thing. The second thing is bringing awareness to whatever I build. You need to find the right customers, people with pain points, and it's kind of I'm not familiar with interviewing people for their pain points that in a non-professional setting. For me, it was easy to interview nurses and doctors because I'm a student. I'm a PhD student. I'm reaching out to them via email. That's how they typically receive requests. Where do you get common people's email to ask them about issues they may have with doing laundry? Say I have a laundry machine I want to sell. That seems so much harder. So having an audience like this, everyone does laundry. We understand we're on a business path. I can ask you. Maybe I'll pay you $5 for a 15-minute interview. I don't know. That's just the ideas I'm spewing out. But yeah, that's the reason behind YouTube, to build a team, bring attention, and ultimately share value. Yeah, I think I got out what I wanted to get out of that. So now we're at 41. I need to go back and timestamp it. Done with task overview. So now what we're going to do is get into this. So I'm just going to clean up my system settings, clean up these built-in software and tools notes, and then that'll just be like a study with me for the next 30-40 minutes. And then after that, we'll do an active testing these apps, setting up hotkeys, writing a complete list of notes. So for now, I'll just mute it. You can study with me or skip forward to the next part. All right, so went through all the, what are these called? Built-in software, tools, applications, and made it like a little bit of a guide for other people that are interested. And you can just do the same thing for if you have a Windows or Linux computer. Just go through like core apps for software and core apps for productivity and efficiency, and explore them. For me, it's helpful to reference in the future. So why not take the extra step, document it a little bit, share it with other people. Yeah, I was gonna start this, but it's already like 13 minutes till 12, and I opened the windows up, and I realized how much customization is available for each of these. And so this is more of like a tomorrow task. So tomorrow, go through all my productivity applications. These are all the ones I have, and set them up. Some of the interesting ones that I've found, or I can just go over this right now, but Alfred is like Spotlight, but with a lot more options and customization. Amphetamine is just a super easy tool. You have it in the menu bar. Oh, you can't see it. Let's see. You have it in the menu bar, which is this little... Oh, you can't see that either. Great. It's like a pill. It looks like a pill. Let's see. Appearance. Yeah, it looks like a pill. It's in the menu bar. You click on it. It keeps your Mac awake. You don't have to go to the settings, change it off and on. If you're doing some research or studying and you want to come back from a break and you just want it to have it open, not have to turn it off and on because you're at home, Amphetamine is perfect for that. The next one is Trash Me. This Macs, when you have applications, they have system files and lots of other things that aren't deleted when you delete the app. And so Trash Me finds those other files and deletes them. And it has lots of other options too. Let's see if I can just pull it up real quick. Yeah, that should be fine to share. So it's kind of cool. It has like a dashboard, things that aren't necessarily relevant to the trash, but you can uninstall applications. You can change what apps are at the login, but system settings also has that. It can look for duplicates. Apparently, it can predict which files might be junk in your computer. Yeah, so it's pretty useful. This one was paid. There's an alternative app cleaner, or there's an alternative called App Cleaner. So I'll go over that tomorrow. Logi options. This is for like the Logitech keyboard, mouse. Luckily, I didn't really search for this. It was given to me for my NVIDIA internship, which was really nice. Felt really productive that quarter. But yeah, it has lots of keyboard shortcuts that I can set up. The next one is called Magnet. This one essentially allows me to do this. Move windows around really quickly to my second screen. I don't have to click and drag and resize and all of that. Alt Tab is also for window navigation, but instead of just having to do this and find which apps are open, which windows are open, you can search by application as well as other options, I believe. Monitor control. This one's nice if you have more than one monitor. So I have my Mac screen and then another monitor connected to my Mac. And what's been difficult, or not necessarily difficult, just it takes a few seconds that I'd prefer not to. I have to go to my monitor buttons under and then go to, it won't show up if I click it, but go to the brightness settings, turn it up and down. And what this allows me to do is, let's see. Yeah, so you can kind of see it. Can't really edit it. But this is my second monitor, and I can change the brightness, which you don't see, but I can change the brightness of my monitor from the menu bar, which is quick, easy. And then the last one, not necessarily productivity, but it is something really cool that I just wanted to share because it was free. So when I'm recording for my research, for my second channel in particular, I'm writing my notes on my iPad, and I don't want to like join Zoom or some other sort of convoluted screen sharing doesn't really work. Some other method. So this allows me just plug in my iPad to my Mac, share the screen right away as soon as I plug it in. And this one is free. Monitor's free. Alt tab is free. Magnet is either like $2 or $10, whatever. Logi options is, well, the keyboard and mouse are like $100. The Trash Me is like $15. Amphetamine is free. Alfred is free, but I bought the Forever supporter just because I want to have all upgrades, so it was like $50. Yeah, so tomorrow we'll go over them and the list of hotkeys and make a list of hotkeys. Cool. Now I'm going to follow my own advice and probably do like a brief recap of today. So what we did today, what we went over today. First, I had okay, let me restart this because I need it to be concise. So what we went over today. First, I wanted to give a YouTube status update. So I shared my dashboard, some of my video updates, and in general showing how my channel is progressing. Secondly, I wanted to share my second channel. On my second channel, I'm going over an AI healthcare chest radiology report generation project. And at this point, I've gone over a literature review, or I found papers for a literature review. Now I'm going over the papers in detail. So if you're interested in me building, you can check out that channel. And the third piece of news was I have approval from my PhD advisor to share, build in public, research in public, my healthcare research. And this research, the reason I'm excited about sharing this is that when I conducted this research, I did so in the spirit of entrepreneurship and with the aim of spinning off. Although I'm not going to stick around for my PhD, so I probably won't see that through unless something happens and I decide to continue pursuing that while dropping out. Anyways, I'm excited about sharing it because of the entrepreneurial tasks and actions that I've taken for that project. We've competed in business competitions. We've interviewed nurses and doctors following customer discovery process, which is a key first step in the modern startup methodology. Getting really nerdy here, but you can really boil down each startup to a series of tasks, and it's so simple. And so I'm excited about sharing sort of what we did for that project, and also researching in public from now on for that project for the next 6 months. But I do need to get approval from our university's intellectual property manager because everything I build as a researcher is owned by my university. Now, once I shared those three notices, I then went over sort of a layout of my task for the foreseeable future. And where I'm currently at is optimizing my productivity with my computer, with my Mac. And so what that means is going over some of the core software and writing a guide on it for myself and to share. Installing some productivity apps, just a few, that meet my needs. Went through lots of YouTube videos to search for it, to find sort of a core list, and we're going to set those up tomorrow. Also, setting up those tomorrow and making a list of hotkeys. Now with all of that, that'll sort of wrap up the next stage, wrap up the next stage by uploading my notes to GitHub, and then also creating a short video just walking through it. So once I finish that, the next step is to organize the files and folders on my Mac. Reason being, with projects, with entrepreneurial resources, there can be many tasks and files and things that you need to reference. And so the best way to make sure that you are quick and you're on the ball at all times, the majority of time, is to organize your folders and files. So that's my next step. Create a folder file structure that works for me. Organize my research, or organize the resources that I've been collecting over the past 7 years as a student. I've been interested in entrepreneurship, just haven't been able to explore it. And now that I have lots of resources to share. Once I do that, create a maintenance and encryption plan to just make sure if something happens to my computer, something happens to my hard drives, I always can just recover just like that. After that, again, making videos to share that. And then at that point, I sort of have a foundation that I set for myself. I have resources, I have them organized, I know how I'm going to interact with my computer, and I'm very efficient. That's sort of like a weird way to say it, but yeah. So at that point, make a plan to reach 5K in passive income. This isn't going to be a get rich quick. I don't want to do drop shipping. I don't want to do some of the other BS strategies. Amazon, affiliation, or I don't know, some stuff like that I don't want to do. My path is startups, and startups is very general. It can be applications, it can be websites, it can be, I don't know, services. They're typically going to be in the vein of technology. Technology, applications, services, that sort of thing, at least for the next few years. In the future, maybe I'll build like a product or something like that. I do have an electrical engineering background, so I do have some ideas that I'd be interested in, but there's just so much more capital you need for those. So it's a sequence of steps that I need to take. And the first is just, we need to build up capital and we need to pay living expenses. So first one's going to be something that's so easy to enter. Anyone can enter it, really. So building my plan, first getting in the right headspace using the key resources that I've come across, and then building the plan to account for the fact that how do I get in easy, how long will it take, and how am I going to make a plan on how to pay living expenses in the meantime. So there's going to be a lot of transparency in that video of what my current status is, how much is rent, how much do I spend a month, how much do I make, do I have like daddy money, which I don't, but just again showing that I don't really have like anything as backup. My ability to work is my backup. So after that, just start. And then two ideas that I pondered for the future are, one, taking a step back and just making sure that the way that I'm presenting this content is the most informative and the most entertaining. Because if I'm just making videos that no one's going to end up seeing because they're just so boring and so dry, there's no point in making them. So the reason I am making these videos is to share knowledge and have it be useful. And the only way to do that is to keep people engaged. So I explored some thoughts on that. And then another idea that I was exploring for the future was the way that I'm approaching March to Startup is more not to say that it's better, but I'm just trying to take a more rounded approach to show all the different aspects that go into making a startup, because I can just start making videos where I'm coding, and let's say I think I'm pretty good and I have a pretty fast learning ramp. So I can make just videos of me busting out apps every 2 to 3 weeks. Is that going to catch people's attention? No. Because I'll just be like a technical channel. Like it needs to be something that people know they can do themselves, because I'm coming from this with not knowing anything. And so I know other people can as well. Maybe we have different learning rates. Maybe I learn slower than some of you. Maybe I'm able to learn faster than some of you. Maybe I have more experience. Maybe you come in with more experience. But at least I'm trying to give sort of a clear picture of where I'm coming from and showing that it's possible. And because of this approach, there's many other things to entrepreneurship that I think are also important that aren't shared nearly as much. And especially for like minorities and people that just aren't familiar with this. They might think the solution is to grind. And I did that, and it really dubbed my health. I have really high blood pressure, and it's something I need to figure out. So this year I have health insurance for the first time. Gonna get that figured out. But my point, to make this succinct, entrepreneurship is although it does require grind, you can do it more so with consistency. And let me rephrase that. Entrepreneurship, although there can be high pressure and you may need to grind sometimes, the majority of the time, you should aim for a more sustainable, consistent, steady path to ensure longevity. And since we're looking at longevity, then what you care about is also taking care of yourself, taking care of your nutrition, taking care of your body, so exercise, grooming, hygiene, but also taking care of your mind. So I'm thinking of sharing what steps I'm doing to recover and get to a very healthy baseline, because I am coming from a place where I'm not overweight, but I'm slightly like 10 pounds, 15 pounds maybe above where I want to be. I have high blood pressure, anxiety, those sorts of things. And so all of these things, I know that I can steady out and fix. And it's something that I want to share for people who may also be facing a lot of these issues and think that there's just no way out of them. I'm pretty sure there is, and I'm going to figure it out for myself. So I hope to share that. Yeah, so hopefully that recap will be a lot better. For this video, I'll probably place it at the beginning and at the end. And if you are watching this and you like the videos and you want something like this, a recap, to just make it quicker to go through my videos, please let me know how you prefer the format, and I'll account for that in future videos. See y'all tomorrow.